Hi, my dear ELT compatriots and those who are into this teaching field and also intended for learners, let me delve deeper into what role of generative AI can be ascertained or can be visualized in transforming students' learning engagement. I'm heavily invested into this transformational and transitioning from the traditional teaching methodologies to the general AI encompassing technology like large language models, ChatGPTs, and Grok, image generation tools, and adaptive learning systems. So how does it contribute to the dynamic interactions, patterns, also personalized education experience? That's a key takeaway from these days. Whenever I think of how artificial intelligence pressed into the service of education advancement or teaching and learning refinement practices, I'm thinking of always, how it can be personalized to the best of the interests of learners, and also how it can wean away those disgruntled or skeptical people who still believe or think that this is more of wreckage or it's creating havoc with critical thinking ability enhancement, and it's not contributing to, in fact, it's marring the prospects of how to develop cognition, which comes naturally, also metacognition. So, extending learning beyond the classroom, generative AI actually enables asynchronous and remote learning through virtual tutors, and it's no wonder that many of the schools are all out to embrace the presence and the services of those AI bots, including one of the most premier world-renowned institutions in UK and in the USA, and even most advanced nations. They have tried and they have fostered learning ambiances and also learning opportunities for trying to get deeper engagement. And of course, content creators have been using this into deployment and coming with the framework for feedback assessment. So supporting data-driven insights, because you know that generative AI can collect and analyze data on student engagement, real-time engagement, lapses, lacuna, and also the loss of the motivation, whether it's intrinsic, extensive, or the engagement with the real task and the distractions, and also the peer-to-peer interactions patterns. So it enables the educators or content creators to identify the disengagement, early disengagement, say, or prior disengagement, and intervene effectively. The whole idea is how to intervene this process of so that the generative AI can be employed to take greater mileage into the like giving an inducement, giving an incentive to those weaker learners or with smaller achievement, or those who are lacking behind in. So obviously generative AI can come on the scene with lots of scenarios I can reflect upon. The scenario could be like where, I don't know, it's resource crunch, poverty stricken remote areas where it can be done synchronously through platforms like video streaming. And YouTube itself is a great source of harnessing, because transcript, tweaking those videos from YouTube. We can have loads and loads of resource material to begin with. Also, it can go beyond the classrooms in the sense that we can have project-based learning where the groups of learners can be tasked with certain projects and they can be allowed to use Google Docs and other through click meetings or there are so many streaming platforms where students can, as long as they have an internet robust connectivity, and that's also not the prerogative of every learner all around the world. We know that half of the world are not mobile smart mobile. There can be users, but they don't have access to smart mobiles. So in that scenario, there could be some components based on offline and empirical study and interventions of leveraging AI can be based on how to inculcate learnability or promote deeper students' engagement through not the real-time streaming of the services. Also can be done with the personalized pace of the learners with the time engagement as much as they can do, because the learners may be engaged in other activities. So analyzing student learning engagement data for fostering critical dialogues and showcasing research and practice, the advanced understanding of how generative AI can meaningfully transform student learning. And the idea is how it can be harnessed to the extent that it comes as a panacea, as a salvo, as a weaponization in the hands of the learners and teachers alike, because these days lots of deliberations going on around cognitive offloading, loss of critical thinking abilities and loss of engagement and distractions all. But I can say that it can be the digital distractions scenario where we are heavily relying on the digital tools and implements, and teachers their hands are off there, and they brush aside the essential job of monitoring or giving the actual feedback, and especially when it comes to writing tasks and also spoken utterances. Yes, of course, these tools and implements can fine-tune the pronunciation, delivery, intonations, and also the speech recognition tools where you can record. Learners can record and then they listen to their own delivery and also their production spoken utterances, and they can tailor content. Generally, I can tailor content to individual students' needs. That's quite easy, and it doesn't take much on the part of the teaching community to get abreast of the latest tools and implements, because they are self-explanatory, most of them, and they're all applications. So it can also, it does have the ability to adjust to the learning styles, interest, and the AI-driven platforms can generate customized practice questions of simulations. Simulations means this is the immersive kind of learning environment where the real scenarios, especially not in English language education, but also social sciences or history, teaching history, geography, where students can be taken to the past empires, legendary figures. They can be made lifelike, and they can be projected as if they're doing interactions in the real time. So this really enhances engagement for diverse learners, and Customization is where the whole it is a game changer. You can always customize, and it can promote higher order thinking through generating like real prompts. Like it's all about prompt engineering, and the debates are going on that how best we can tweak our prompts and for generating newer prompts, which goes a long way in creative writing, problem solving scenario, and also interest in critical thinking education, like extending learning beyond the classroom. So it's not the classroom alone where learning takes place. Actually, much of the communicative competence can be gained outside the classroom, where you have real interactions, authentic material, real scenario, where we have problems of life situations, life-threatening situations. We have to come up with solutions, real solutions, and we can use collaborative platforms where groups of learners, hundreds of them, can engage in peer feedback, also engage in thread-like discussions, contribute to they can go for vlogging, like recording themselves, making videos of theirs, and feedback enhancement. There are ready reckoners. We have tables and templates where they can be judged on, even the happiness level can be judged. Yesterday I used one of the platforms where they have some kind of questionnaires based on Google Docs, 30 questions, and based on 30 questions you have a sampling of your representative psyche, and you get to know the happiness level or the engagement level. And definitely it reduces teachers' workload for accommodating for higher engagement of teachers with the real task creations, more challenging creations. Like we say, differentiated learning or catering to the needs of the varied learners in varied situations. Because supposedly we are teaching L2 students where their first language is not English, and we do come across situations where the communicative competence or competence level is quite low, and we have to go for reflective kind of teaching and reflective learning. That means the students should be given a leverage, a bit of autonomy, kind of their agency, the efficacy of involvement, where they choose the material that they would like to work on, analyzing the kind of, even just think of the writing prompts. What kind of essays or what kind of topics should they engage with, and how can we suggest improvement so data-driven insights, of course, this gives an eye and a real insight to the teachers. Look at the varying level of performances, where the learner is lacking, what are the pitfalls. Also reflective teaching practices, like research-based classroom teaching, where we teachers take a note of, we keep journaling, as we ask the learners to keep journaling about their progress, about their daily engagement with the task, and where they phase out, where there's a lack of true engagement. And actually we need to identify disengagement, early disengagement, and we need to intervene effectively where the child has failed to take control of himself, where the autonomy is compromised, where the efficacy of the learner is not reflected, where he has limited role and teaches dependence like a crutch. So we shouldn't allow learners to use teachers as a crutch. All the time they should look forward to teacher for any kind of support. Support is there, but we can also withdraw support at times to make them independent learners, where we have larger control of what goes on inside their heads and outside like in the form of task completions. So learnability can be improved by, I'm talking about like surveys and tools. They also help in pre-test, post-test, diagnostics, prognostics testing, like how much is the positive emotions, how far this child is engaged, a scale from 0 to 10, his relationship with the peer, then meaning and accomplishment task with the task completion, with the kind of satisfaction that he has got. We can talk about negative emotions and also failing fronts where the child hasn't been able to give out his best. And when it comes to thinking of the learner's well-being, as we think of the teacher's well-being in the classroom of teaching, we also need to think about how best these are the learning atmosphere or learning conditioning can be done, so that it doesn't prove to be a hindrance to the path of improvement that comes gradually, obviously. So when we transform the students' learning engagement patterns, we're definitely giving them more control. And this emergence of generative artificial intelligence brings exciting new possibilities. I mean, there's no end of it. And I have always looked at so many applications and teaching and learning and education tools, and I've tried so many of them myself. And if there is harnessed to the extent of its practicalities in the individual learning, I mean, it can be peer-to-peer. It works best with individual learning. Like just take the example of a simple application of Duolingo, learning the language. Obviously, you cannot learn the language from the app alone, but it gives you lots of room for tweaking, for struggling, for also to harness and deploy your instinctive tenets, or what's lying inside or beneath you, because without the presence of your teacher, because sometimes our presence is self-intimidating and it doesn't contribute to the well-being of the learner, especially the shy learners, those who have not been well exposed to the real-life language ability. So what I'm trying to focus on, that of course it is an age of transformation, and we are heading towards where generative artificial intelligence is rampant. It's become a formidable part of every day-to-day activities or kind of social media engagement. And I mean, you can see that WhatsApp is on AI assistants. Then we have search engine. Actually, search engines are all replaced by generative intelligence models. And classroom is no exception. We have been using technological tools in the classroom for so long, in the form of YouTube videos and images and mobile phones. And in its field of mathematics, we can say that we have been using calculators for more than 50 years now. So theorizing the role of generative AI student learning engagement is not enough. We need to develop perceptions, and we need to modify our thinking, and also have some real perspective from the teacher's point of view that I'm talking about. How to further assist our learners through maybe ebook formats, I mean digitized formats, also some of the wide and rapid we have configurations of such kind of tools. There's some of them are free, some of them may be subscribed. The institution always has subscription to such applications, and it doesn't take much to intervene and take this learning level to a desirable standard with the learning objectives met, with some of the tweaking or modifications with the curriculum designing, also feedback structure, and we can also go for alternative kind of assessment. It doesn't have to be traditional in the form of, it can be simple feedback based on highlighting and signposting, and even the students themselves can reflect upon by, as I mentioned, about journaling, and also kind of multiple attempts, and without having to worry about the grades and summative or cumulative grade card, because the world over the grading system is undergoing major reshuffles, and no wonder that all the testing system has to fall in line with the present soft skills scenario, where soft skills are being given more importance, and they're being incentivized, because traditional skills won't work anymore because the job markets, the scenario is changing, and our learners have to prepare for future competencies and have to acquire to be a world global citizen. Because the way we have been delivering our instructions, we have been disseminating information as a font of all knowledge, and that's being challenged now. Now the fingertips, the whole world of information is out there. It's at the disposal and quick access to any learner who has just the willingness to. Doesn't have to be really motivated, so it can really work wonderfully well in the context of how best we can deploy those right tools and implements. Also deploying the right kind of models, the catching up with unsubscribe and almost free applications, where we can have so many synchronous, asynchronous platforms being accorded institutionally, personally, or by the help of group collaborations. So collaboration is the key to fostering real challenges, meeting the challenges of the 21st century, skill development, and that's the need of the hour. Thank you.